Good evening. Welcome to the City of Opa-locka regular commission meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Burke,
Here.
Commissioner Davis,
Here.
Commissioner Taylor,
Here.
Vice Mayor Williams, here, Mayor Pygott.
I am here. Commissioner Taylor, would you lead us in the
God, we thank you for bringing us together one more time in your name. God, we ask that you come upon us in this meeting, that we would lead your people your way. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Madam Clerk, do we have any awards, proclamations, or acknowledgements?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All right, then I will be remiss if I do not acknowledge two ladies on this dais that represent the sorority Delta Sigma Theta. I'm on their anniversary today. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. You want to say any words from Vice Mayor Williams?
Well, of course. On this day, 108 years ago, 22 illustrious, wonderful women founded Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, where we are over 350,000. Let me know, Ms. Wilson. Okay, so many. Strong sisterhood, service, and scholarship, and that's our foundation. And we're just so happy to be celebrating with all the Deltas and everyone else that shows us love. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much and appreciate your service, especially the efforts over this past year on making change here in America. With that, let's move on to the approval of the consent agenda. Are there any pulls, deletions, or deferrals? All right, I'll be pulling agenda item 13.1. With that, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Davis,
Second.
second by Commissioner Burke. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Mayor Pygott.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Do I have a motion to approve the virtual COVID-19 workshop minutes for May 7, 2020?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
we just approved the consent agenda. We still have to set the agenda, and also we have an add-on item.
Okay, I'll go through the add-on items since we pulled the only item on the consent agenda. I just went ahead and moved forward with the approval of the agenda. That was that motion.
Okay.
All right, so we have an add-on item. Bring that forward.
Yes, there's a request to amend the agenda as follows. 14.1, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, authorizing the city manager to approve pending and future invoices for city attorney legal expenditures, providing for correction of Scrivener's errors, providing for an effective date, sponsored by the city manager and city attorney.
All right. Could you state the emergency natures for this add-on item, Mr. Manager or Madam Attorney?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Items are pending before the state at this point, and they said that what they will need is approval from the city going forward in this new year in order to pay the legal expenditures that are for my office. And so we are doing the proper form, and we're bringing this item to you for approval so that the manager can do so consistent with the charter. I mean, the Code of Ordinances, rather.
All right. Do I have a motion to add this on to the agenda?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Burke,
Second.
second by Commissioner Teller. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Mayor Pygott.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right. And I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the agenda with the Add-on item. Do I have a second? Oh, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move it, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Davis, second by Commissioner Burke. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Pygott.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Do I have a motion to approve the virtual COVID-19 workshop minutes for May 7, 2020?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Davis,
Second.
second by Commissioner or Vice Mayor Williams. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Pygott.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Do I have a motion to approve the virtual audit workshop minutes for December 14, 2020?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Burke, second by Commissioner Taylor. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Mayor Pygott.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Do I have a motion to approve the virtual COVID-19 workshop minutes for May 14, 2020?
Move it.
Moved by Vice Mayor Williams,
Second.
second by Commissioner Burke. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Pygott.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Do I have a motion to approve the special commission meeting minutes for November 12, 2020?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Burke,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor Williams. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Mayor Pygott.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Do I have a motion to approve the regular commission meeting minutes, November 14th, 2020?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Davis,
Second.
second by Commissioner Burke. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Pygott.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right. Do we have a report from District 1 or District 2?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. All right. Do we have any public presentations?
No.
All right. Moving on to Citizens Forum. Madam Clerk, could you state the procedures that govern Citizens Forum?
Yes, good evening. Due to COVID-19, the City of Opa-locka Commission will hold its meetings in person with social distancing while still allowing virtual participation via Zoom. In-person meetings will be held in the commission chambers at Shabandi Village, 215 Purvis Avenue, Opa-locka, Florida. Space for in-person attendance is very limited due to COVID-19 social distancing. Members of the public wishing to address the commission are strongly encouraged to participate virtually by registering at least 2 hours prior to the scheduled meeting time at public comments at opalockafl.gov. City Commission meetings will be aired through live stream at www.youtube.com/user/City of Opa-locka. To view the procedures for virtual participation at commission meetings, please visit the City of Opa-locka website at www.opalockafl.gov and click on the city clerk's page. With that, Mr. Mayor, we do have one public comment that was submitted via email.
You may proceed.
This public comment is from Eric Redmond, Villa Francine. And it reads as follows. I would like to take this time to give much thanks to the manager and clerk's office for the gift card giveaway during the holidays that meant so much to the citizens of Opa-locka. The manager and staff, along with the clerk's office, showed true leadership again. Thank you so much, Eric Redmond, Villa Francine. And that concludes the public comments that were submitted via email.
All right. Citizens Forum is open for those in the audience. Is his mic on? We can't hear him.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Brian Dennis, address 821 Northwest 54th Street. Section 5 of the city manager's contract. Letter B says, beginning in 2020, as determined by the commission shall review and evaluate the performance of the manager at least once every fiscal year between March 1st and the immediate following April 30th. Said review and evaluation shall assess the manager's performance of all duties and responsibilities and his exercise of all powers for which he is reasonable under this agreement during the immediately preceding period. Failure by the commission to conduct such a review and evaluation in any given year or years shall not be considered a breach of this contract. I'm saying that to say this. Been rumors floating around since the holidays that y'all want to fire the manager. City of Opa-locka got a bad habit of wanting to fire managers. Man came way from Chicago to get fired. I could understand why he's applying for jobs in Milwaukee and in Fort Lauderdale, because how the commission play. The evaluation period for this contract is in March and April. So far, so good. Let the man do his job. He's not tied to anybody up on this commission. Came from out of town. Let the man do his job. Let the man do his job. I'm gonna go back to what Commissioner Burke said last year. The manager does not just work for the mayor. He works for each and every commissioner and the citizens of the city of Opa-locka. Let the man do his job. No interference, because clearly I could pull up that chart and start saying where the interference don't happen, how this don't happen. According to Section 3 of the charter, the manager is the CEO of the city of operation, the city of Opa-locka. He is the daily, everyday CEO of the city of Opa-locka, not the commission. Interfering with the manager is a violation of the charter. So let the man do his job. Mr. Pate, got your back.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Dottie Johnson, 13724 Northwest 22nd Place, Opa-locka. First of all, I would like to commend the IT department. Initiative past due. The only thing I would like to suggest for memories is that the welcome kit be added to it. And now that we are so far into the progress, hopefully that can get off. And looking at your workshop on last week, the building and licensing department needs help. I've gone to get several permits. The line is out the door. For a 15-minute permit, I was there for an hour and 45 minutes, and I got a lot of other horrible stories. I would like to suggest that this commission look at providing legislation for the next election or a special election that will probably be coming up, seats of districts. If it's not done, I think that was a part of my initiative before I left the dais, but it was more important to do the term limit, because so many candidates, when they're running for positions or for elected positions, they come out with horrible stories. I witnessed personally, I don't like to go by what I hear. I actually witnessed on November the 3rd where candidates had their poll workers saying that certain people didn't do anything when they was there. What I've done is very well documented. I don't want to get into that because I'm going to leave this behind me. The coalition also have gotten information from the Department of Education in Washington and Tallahassee. I strongly encourage all candidates and elected officials to look at what the handbooks say about election. You cannot post your poster on Dade County fences or the property. They want us to pursue it. But I'm finding if I pursue it, certain ones are gonna lose their job because when you're in certain position, you're held to different. I find myself have had to sue the city 2 times, and both times I won. I don't think the city is in a position to be sued. Your litigation exceeds your budget. So I strongly suggest that in the future going forward, that all candidates read, because what your poll workers or anyone affiliated with you say or do, you're held to that. And there are several people that want to see a couple of people gone, but I will not be a part of that. So I strongly encourage through your legislation to look at the seats. If not, I know what to do to get petitions, to do what I had to do for term limits. I strongly encourage you to do the right thing, and may God bless each and every one of you.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioner. My name is Gary Johnson. My address is 13235 Alexandria Drive. All right, the last meeting I attended, we spoke about the drain, and you guys stated that on the property that I live, that you guys had a company that was gonna come and evaluate the situation. I would like you guys, if you can, to update us on that. My second concern is that I heard that you guys passed an ordinance for the property that I live on to have 2 police officers posted. We need to know what time they're supposed to be there and what time they're gonna leave. My third question is, I know you all guys seen one of the properties on the news today as far as considering the violence that the youth bring. And I would like to ask the commissioner, do you guys have a plan that you can take and get with the county, the state rep, to see if we could take and implement something as far as giving the youth something to do? Because if we ask them to pull their pants up, cut their hair, when they walk outside, they still don't have nothing to do. I don't want you guys to take and let's repeat like we did in the early 80s when everybody, oh, lock them up, lock them up, lock them up. And before you know it, we had the whole community locked up. 20 years later, they stated, oh, it was a mistake. So before we make the second mistake again, why don't we try to offer them something like in their community, not 30 miles east, not 30 miles west, not 30 miles south. Right here, there's enough land, there's enough things, space that we can take and educate them on the jobs that are available. Because I believe you guys some years ago had a waterproofing job where you taught the guys the waterproof, the outside of high-rise building. But little did you guys know, Black folks don't like height. So to take and implement a program like that and it did them no good, that was a waste of money. You could have used that money to say tractor drive, and you could take and you could pressure FedEx, UPS to say, well, okay, you know what? Because you guys come in our area a lot, let's get some substations. All the ones that qualify to drive and drop the property off, that would be good. That would be a start. The road construction that's going on. Okay, let's hire them and give them an idea how the machinery works. Not give them labor jobs, and after the labors are no needed no more, they're gone. You didn't teach them anything. We have to give them something to hold on to, and I hope before you guys render this decision about the violent acts that are being taken place by our youth, before we resort to, oh, let's lock them up, let's take and give them a chance as far as a scenario way out. Because if you look, the only business district we have is Miami Gardens. I don't say Opa-locka don't have enough space to create business district, but you do have enough space to bring businesses here to give them opportunity. And, you know, we would like to know in the glory of the gods, what are the time that the police are supposed to be on the property? And if the police are going to tell us a story as far press the owners them to give them to pay you guys, the owners them have nothing to do with Port Said Road. The shootings is coming off of Port Said Road. That is Opa-locka property. That is not our property. That's Opa-locka. So how could you guys tell them to, okay, pressure the owners to get more help to pay the police to be on the property? But when I can remember when you guys used to do drug raids, you ain't need proper permission from the property owners. You just stormed in there because you said it was a problem and you guys was gonna get rid of the problem. So it was with the shooting. Storm up in there and try to stake and stop it. You know, it shouldn't come down if the owners don't pay, we don't have police protection. That's hypocritical to me. This is the city in Opa-locka. It's the property in the city of Opa-locka, yes. So if the owners them don't pay the police, do you mean we don't get the police? You know, I'm gonna leave y'all with that thought. Y'all have a blessed and beautiful night.
Natasha Irvin, 670 Dunat Avenue. Happy New Year. We need officers in our city ASAP. We have to somehow find the funds to be able to offer our officers a competitive set salary to inspire them to want to come to our city. Okay? Let me say this, and I say it all the time. In Opa-locka, there are no secrets. With that being said, once again, the word on the street says that the mayor, once again, has an issue with the city manager. Mr. Mayor, I say this respectfully, we have been through at least 4 to 5 city managers since you've been in office, and you seem to have a major issue with all of them to the point that they somehow, well, some of them refuse to meet with you. This has got to change. If you have faith in them when you hired them, you should have faith in them once they accept the job. Bottom line is that the city manager, the bottom line is to let the city manager do his job. We can't keep changing city managers. And I'm saying this respectfully, as respectful as I can. We can't keep taking 5 steps forwards and 10 steps backwards. I would also like to say thank you to everyone who made the toy drive a great success. And for those of you who supported the event, thank you too. Good night.
Lamar Cruz, 13831 Northwest 24th Avenue, Opa-locka, Florida. I'd like to ask if possible that you guys somehow can look into, I guess, the budget or whatever to get construction, get work done about these trees, all the trees that's hanging too low. I personally bought a chainsaw, pole saw myself to cut on 24th Avenue on Superior Street so to stop the accidents, because the trees are hanging so low, you've been having accidents back to back there. I think a few years back, the other mayor and Ms. Johnson them had it cut and had everything cut so you can see. It's back to the same portion again, and cars got to stop and go out a little bit to get in. And if you look through the records, it shows they've been having accidents back to back. So I personally decided to cut that out. I talked to Ms. Johnson a while back, and I talked to a few of the other brothers, I think that was you, about regulating something in this Opa-locka, as far as like, we could put the people here in Opa-locka to work and cleaning up and cutting the trees instead of hiring an outside force. We hired these guys to come cut. I think that was a money issue. They hired the little group to go cut the in between the lots. Somebody got paid off of that, I'm gonna be frank. Because it should be people hired within Opa-locka. The same boys who cutting on the side of the lake, they could have cut them lots. Save money and put jobs back into Opa-locka. Put jobs back into this. Instead of hiring an outside group who don't even stay in Opa-locka to come over here and cut the alleyways. Of course, that's a money issue and somebody got paid off of it. I'm saying that we need to put money back into this community, back into this Opa-locka, not hire outside forces to do anything. Get the trees cut, get the land cut and the weeds cut instead of having the outside people do it. You can hire 2, 3 people to do that. some other things, but I'm gonna leave it at that.
Thank you. Citizens forum is open. All right, citizens forum is closed. Any responses from commission? All right, Mr. Manager, could you provide a response in regards to the drainage, the police, the drainage, the substation at Glorietta, and also the tree maintenance? Oh, there's another one. Oh, sorry, I apologize. Go ahead, ma'am.
Don't worry about it. I know you. Hi, everybody. Say Happy New Year. I have a long time and I'm coming to see the meeting. I see a lot of new people. As well as I'm very shocked because I see the new person I never see. That's Mr. William. I know Taylor. And that's I never see her where she's come from. I've been 40-something years here. Yeah, I never see her.
Madam.
And she don't do nothing for the community. Let me tell you something.
Madam.
Excuse me. I'm
Madam,
talking.
madam.
Let me tell you something. I have a 40-something year in this city. And you all the time give me some. I come and listen, let me try. I have a lot of something to tell you because you don't like talk to me because I don't speak good English. You know, like, that's why you see this over here? Empty. You have a lot of people come over here, and Hispanic people, because nobody help. The new people you have here, a lot of new people, and nobody do nothing. Only, you know what the city doing? Make fine to the people do something in the house. Why you don't take care of 27th Avenue, 22nd Avenue? Why you don't take care of the building? A lot of building over here is ugly, a different color. Why people don't like coming to Opa-locka? Because they say only ugly. What do you do the front to say Chavasa Boulevard, Opa-locka Boulevard? What are you looking for? They're looking for flea market. I was something 40 years in this place. I never see nothing change. Only see people here like I never see. Why? And you over there have a phone, I don't know how long, everybody vote for you, and you don't do nothing. What are you doing? Only thing I want to ask you to lock the door, to make meeting with you last year, to few time, before I go get apply for commissioner. You never see. You never give me an appointment. Because you know why? Because you don't like Spanish people. People don't speak good English. Or you remember about the water problem you have here? Why? Why Miami call the water? Why? That's the guy talk. This guy talk about the library to clean it up. It's why what he say. Because living in the corner and the people only clean it in the middle like this. He don't care. He don't care what he having over there. You have a lot of people in the job. So you have something just to do to these the people living in this place. Give it to them. Don't look at somebody outside. Try to do better. See, you sit down over here to do something before you leave. Do something good. Please, I want to tell you, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to talk to you like that. But you know why? All the time people quiet. Why? You see, you have another problem here. Some people go to the, make a fine about this, about that, about that. Why not go get it 22nd Avenue? Why not go get it 134th Street? Why not get it all over there is ugly to put it some fine. Why he make a fine to the people have a house? You know what I mean? For anything, we can phone fine.
Thank you, ma'am.
Another one, let me tell you something. Another something.
Ma'am, your time is.
The light you have here, the camera. I needed to put a soul light in the camera because I like people ask me when I come into the meeting, talk to you about the camera. Do something. Don't steal the money to the public. Because you don't know nothing Opa-locka because you come in all 2 years here.
I'd like to remind everyone that we do have a decorum policy here, section 2-58. Please make sure that all of your remarks address the whole commission. We act as a body, so please refrain from in singling out anyone, one person on the dais, because we act as a body. It takes three to do anything in this city. That's based upon our charter and our code. So please address us as a body and keep remarks as respectful as possible. If there's anybody that has any issues, appointment, our legislative aid is right there that can make an appointments if necessary. All right, citizens forum is open. Is there anyone else before we close out citizens forum wants to speak? All right, citizens forum is closed. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In regards to the police substation, our police department has been working diligently with Glorietta Gardens, and the police substation should be opening next week. We had final meetings today with management in regards to that matter, and I want to thank Lieutenant Jenkins for finalizing those plans today. So we will be having that substation open next week. In regards to Gloria Gardens, as far as drainage is concerned, as the commission is aware and the public is aware, we are currently doing a drainage study for Glorietta Gardens as well as the rest of the city. The commission authorized $25,000, some odd dollars, to do a specialized drainage study for Gloria Gardens specifically. So we're working on those plans, and hopefully we will have an update within the next 30 days on the progress of that study for Glorietta Gardens. I'm not promising completion, but we will have a significant update in regards to that. And I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, your third request for update.
The tree maintenance.
So as far as the tree maintenance goes, I have had extensive conversations with Public Works and in regards to our code. And this is legislation that I need to bring to the commission. Currently, our code states that any trees that are located on the street side of the roadway is actually the responsibility of the resident to trim, not the city. It's the responsibility of the resident based on our code. So if it's going to be the responsibility of the city, as the city has taken responsibility in the past to deal with, we will have to revise our code to kind of address that. So I have had extensive discussions with Public Works in regards to that, because this is not the first time that subject has been brought up over the last 3-month period.
Thank you. All right. For other comments on Citizens Forum, let's move on to our action items. 13.1, Madam Attorney.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, authorizing the city manager to execute an emergency contract attached hereto as Exhibit A with HCA Asset Management LLC for the provision of asset valuation, insurance appraisal, and policy and procedures development assistance services in an amount not to exceed $33,000, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, do I have a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Burke,
Second.
second by Commissioner Davis. Mr. Manager, could you introduce this item?
I would ask Mr. Anathan, our budget administrator, via Zoom to introduce this item. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Manager. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commission. Very briefly, as I think most everybody's aware at this point, the city is required to get an asset valuation study done. It's going to meet requirements of the audit. Right now, without it, it has been a cause of getting qualified opinions on the audit. Once this is behind us, it should remove that as an impediment to a clean audit. Also, this work will address 2 items that are in the operational audit. One is one of the items in the operational audit notes that we don't have under control or not adequate control of all our tangible personal property. Tangible personal property is those assets that are not built into a structure. They could be computers and so forth. This study will allow us to satisfy that criteria. There's another item in the operational audit, finding number 31, that says that the city really has to improve the way that it insures its properties, makes sure that it has proper insurance on them. This will also satisfy that. So the president of HCA Asset Management is standing by if you have any questions. That is Mr. Gregory Sheehan. He's with us via Zoom. So that's all I can add for the moment, unless there are any questions.
All right. Scott, I pulled this item in particular just to bring up the importance of this item. Staff did a great job in putting together this package and this proposal that will address a longstanding issue in the city of Opa-locka. On many of our past audits, we were not able to get unmodified opinion due to the fact that we didn't have an inventory of physical assets taking place. This is something that has been stated in the last few audits, and it's also very important for us to get outside of financial oversight. So this is something that is critical. The timing of it, based upon the execution of this contract, is past the deadline for our submission for our upcoming audit, which means that once this is executed, hopefully we're hoping that this gets passed and completed, so it could be incorporated in this 18-19 audit, but that is highly unlikely, which means that we may be in financial oversight for another year. So I wanted to make sure that we understand the importance of this to the city to get out of financial oversight. I like the fact that not only does it address this audit findings, but it also addresses issues with our insurance to make sure that we have an inventory of our assets and their insurance values so they can be incorporated in our insurance. So with that, I do want to make sure that we get on record from the manager what we need to do to ensure that this is conducted on a regular schedule so that this doesn't happen in the city again. Mr. Manager.
First, Mr. Mayor, thank you for that question. Once this act is done and completed by this organization, our yearly audits actually should resolve this issue along with maintenance of the appropriate property lists by our staff. Both our accounting department and our public works departments should suffice as far as maintaining this requirement moving forward. As far as this matter being contracted out, this has been a decades-old issue in regards to the city not being able to maintain proper controls in regards to its assets. So I think it's imperative moving forward to prevent the city from going to financial oversight again, as the city's been multiple financial oversight multiple occasions, that the city maintains proper controls to ensure this doesn't move forward through proper staffing and holding staff accountable moving forward, sir. Thank you.
So if I'm hearing circle, will this be, once we execute this inventory of physical assets, staff can continue to do those inventories moving forward? And it's just something that will be done, or is this a contract that we need to do every year?
No, it's a function of a standing municipal organization to be able to maintain their own physical assets, not an organization to come in and do it on a yearly basis. So once it's maintained and controlled, as long as proper controls are in place through proper audits, through proper reporting, ensuring that the city doesn't go behind multiple years in audits. Once again, that's how you lost controls once again. Once controls were regained, once the city came out of financial oversight, it's a yearly activity that's done through the audit process, as well as through day-to-day operational issues in regards to our public works department and our value asset matters, as well as software that the city maintains to ensure that proper valuation is maintained and the valuation of property and assets that are maintained by various departments. So it's a myriad of various combinations of issues and matters that have to take place in order to ensure that proper controls are in place to ensure that this doesn't happen again.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. I want to call upon my colleagues. I think that we need to, and this is actually a recommendation from our audit committee, is that we have an audit workshop to review the findings of the past audits so that we're clear about what we need to do to ensure that all those recommendations are being implemented and being addressed. I would like to request the manager to call an audit workshop pretty soon so that we can review the past audits. And let's make that an annual thing within the city of Opa-locka that once we get our audit findings, we hold an audit workshop to review those findings and put together some type of strategic plan to ensure that things are being addressed in a timely manner. And we don't get to this point ever again.
Mr. Mayor,
Thank you, Mr. Manager.
the chairman of the audit committee can call a joint workshop with the city commission and the audit committee in regards to go over the audit. So that can be a function of the audit chairperson, which is yourself. I don't necessarily have to call that a workshop. It can be, that was a recommendation of your audit committee. So it could be a joint committee workshop with your audit committee and the city commission.
All right, so whenever we're ready to call it, your office is ready to make it happen. Is that what I'm hearing?
In conjunction with yourself as the chairman of the audit committee, yes, sir.
Okay, all right, so if Madam Clerk, would you poll the commission to conduct an audit workshop within the next 2 weeks so that we can have that conversation?
Mr. Mayor, also, you want to probably see if you probably want to see if the auditor is available and probably see what, you probably would want him to do the overview since Mr. Brunson, you probably would want him to come in to do that overview of the audit, to go over the audit findings. So we probably want to ask him pricing or what he would charge the city to come in and kind of go over those audit findings, especially if you want to go over multiple years.
Okay, all right, then could you arrange a time that is available for your office and audit auditor to come to the city to host that workshop and work with the clerk to poll the commission so we find a date that works for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, any other questions or comments on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I have a question, a quick question.
Commissioner Davis.
Through the mayor, to the manager, as it relates to the audit and the issue of accounting for our physical assets. I do know, I guess, once we have a third party come in and kind of have kind of help us to get control over our assets, that it may have I guess, a fiscal impact, simply because, assets are something that we record on our books, and ultimately, depending on, what's accounted for somewhere down the road, it may affect us financially. Have you, in your, I guess, your analysis of our assets and having a third party come in and just the initial examining of this project, do you anticipate any financial impact as a result of having this function done to our assets?
So my estimation, as far as physical property, it's my belief that our physical property is probably either some of our property is undervalued and some of our property is overvalued. And then as far as our physical assets, we're probably overinsured as far as physical assets are concerned, as the city has discovered as far as vehicles in the past. So that's why I would surmise, but we wouldn't know for sure until the study is actually done.
Got it. So we don't know any hard details on the fiscal impact?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other questions or comments? All right. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Mayor Pike.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, item 14.1.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, authorizing the city manager to approve pending and future invoices for city attorney legal expenditures, providing for correction of scrivener's errors, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager and city attorney.
All right, we have a motion.
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Burke,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor Williams. This is sponsored by City Manager, City Attorney, whichever would like to introduce this item.
Sure, Mr. Mayor, this again is an item brought to you for the fact that the state is holding bills and for this year requiring that the manager has the authority to sign off on invoices from the city attorney's office. And so we are bringing this to you so that it coincides with what's required by the code.
All right. Any questions, comments on this? Okay. This is we've had, since I've been here and I've never seen a resolution specifically to do this. If it's a budgeted item in our budget and invoices are submitted, they are approved. Could you help me understand why we need this resolution? And are we approving invoices ourselves as a commission? And if so, where are those attached to this item?
Mr. Mayor, again, this is a procedure that the state is requiring. I don't know why, but this is what they're doing and we're trying to comply with it. And their rationale is that I do not work for the city manager and therefore you all would have to give the city manager the authority to process. And so we obviously have done work, we want to be paid, and we're just trying to go through the motions of whatever it was that they said they needed. And that's why this is before you. And so we'd ask for your approval of the item so that we can get paid for work we perform.
I can understand that. All right, any other questions on this item?
Mr. Mayor.
Vice Mayor Williams?
I'm hearing that this is a recommendation from the state, and I am in agreement with following what Mr. Pate and Mr. Weeks have put forth. So far, they have led us down a forward path, and I'm agreeing with this item. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Pike.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right. Ordinance, hold on, where I'm at.
16A1.
All right, 16A1.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, amending the annual adopted general proprietary and special revenue funds budgets for the fiscal year commencing October 1, 2020 and ending September 30th, 2021, adjusting revenues and expenditures as reflected in Exhibit A, providing for the expenditure of funds established by the budget, authorizing the city manager to take certain actions, providing for appropriation of all budgets and expenditures, providing for fees consistent with appropriations and amendment, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for a conflict and repealer, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, do I have a motion? First read item, where I put, it's public hearing item. Public hearing is open.
Dorothy Johnson, 13724 Northwest 22nd Place, Opa-locka. I'm sort of concerned, and I don't know how this plays into it, but I don't know how many other emergency legislation has come in front of the taxpayers. We have not had any input on it, even from 20, because I'm just seeing something now happen that I really know the charter real good. And we're talking about the commitment of October 1st or 20. How do we have this stuff documented? And where, as a citizen, I can find it as public record? You all have everything now, and I know the manager walked into an ant's bed. And I know the majority of the elected officials that's currently here, besides one that's been here since 16, don't know this. So where, as a taxpayer, I can find this information. And as far as when it come down to money, being a part of the auditor, I see y'all having meetings. It's 3 members. There's only 1 present. I would like to be acknowledged of any meeting pertaining to finances and or for the city going forward. I will not sit here. I will not go along with this without having information in advance. And I saw something just happen just a while ago that I am going to challenge it, but I need to have the information. So although this is behind us, but going forward, please make sure it is documented. The code number, I need to know. Thank you.
Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. Do I have a motion? Moved by Commissioner Burke.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Davis. Mr. Manager.
Defer to the Budget Administrator, Mr. Anathan.
You're muted, Mr. Anathan. We cannot hear you.
Oh,
Now we can.
yes, sir. Sorry about that. Okay, fair enough. If possible, I'd like to share the screen for a few minutes. I've been told if we can do that, you'll see on your screen what I'm talking to. I think it might be easier to focus on the overview and the kind of a structure to get your head around in terms of the numbers. So with permission, can I go to share screen? Just as a sanity check, is my screen now showing up on the large screen on the floor?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. It's going to be a very quick presentation. You have all the details. As I said, it is a sea of numbers. I'd like to offer up a structure that you can possibly get your head around, and hopefully it'll make it a little more understandable. Okay, very quickly, in the budget amendment package at the moment, we're talking to 27 items. In aggregate, it's $1.8 million of expense. Offsetting that is $600,000 of either cost savings of budgeted items or use of contingency, about $400,000 of cost savings, and use of contingency slightly less than $200,000 at this point. As a result, with the use of this contingency, the general fund contingency has been reduced to 1.1 million. That is the normal starting point in the budget most years. We've been very lucky we had more, and we've used some of it. We still have 1.1 million at this point. So consequently, with the $1.8 million of items, and the 27 items that is, and with $600,000 of savings, the net impact on the bottom line of the city right now is 1.2 million. And what I'd like to do is expand on that, give you some insight of what that's all about. Okay, it breaks down into about 9 categories. I will go through them quickly. The first one, it has a star beside, or I should say a diamond. I'm going to go into that in a little more detail. The next 7 or 8 I will talk to now, and we'll take questions at that time if of interest, and then move on. And then the last item, again, I'll go into a little more detail. First item is what we call rollover things. Just a reminder, there's no decision to be made on this. This are projects that were approved last year. The funds were set aside, they were encumbered. It turned out that the projects were not completed. Consequently, there will be some expenditures this year. This is an administrative action that moves the funds that were encumbered last year to fund this project moves the funds into this year so that the bills can be paid. There is one item, the next item I'm going to talk to you very quickly. It's been alluded to a couple times tonight already. As you may remember, the city originally decided they're going to give out approximately $1 million in these cash cards to people to help take care of their, allow them to acquire food and so forth. Because of the way another aspect of the program worked out, it was decided there were additional funds available. So this one is another 600,000 added to the original 1 million, 1.6. This does not, there's no risk in this. This will all be fully reimbursed by the county. So it's a big number, but it's no risk in terms of whether the reimbursement will be received. Next two items were part of the FY20 budget, but were not undertaken. Consequently, no funds were encumbered and so forth. Staff feels that they are worthy of consideration of being offered up this time. One thing that was in the FY20 budget was the fire alarm panel replacement for the municipal complex. It does have problems. It is cited by the county fire inspectors on a regular basis. Approximately $36,000, and we feel that it's the appropriate thing to do at this point. Second item that was in the last year's budget was a man lift vehicle that will be used jointly by building maintenance and also roads and streets. We did not move forward at that time, approximately $70,000. Would like to offer that up again for your consideration. Next two items have to do with positions that were not budgeted originally in the budget, nor were they budgeted in the 5-year plan. One is an HR position. My notes are incorrect. My notes say it's an HR administrator. That's incorrect. What it is a HR specialist level 1, an entry-level position. The second one is a operations manager to pick up some of the administrative burdens within the Public Works Department. As I've mentioned a couple times, when you add positions, you not only have to think about what they're going to do this year and how you pay for it, but they do become part of the cost structure in terms of the 5-year plan that we put together previously. Just a reminder, and I'll focus on the general fund. When the 5-year plan was put together, we created approximately about $1.3 million of excess reserves that was above and beyond what we should be maintaining. When you add a position, you really have to look at it in terms of its impact over 4 or 5 years. There is another position that was not budgeted, but is present at this point. It is not part of the amendment because there are other savings in that department that makes it unnecessary to present it as a budget this time. Combination of those 3 positions, I originally said I thought would impact the 5-year plan by about $900,000. It's been brought to my attention the operations manager position is going to be split jointly between general fund and the utilities fund. So I've got to revise that estimate to about about $750,000 over the 5-year period. What that says is we had a $1.3 million surplus. These positions will use up about $750,000. It's just a word of caution. Have to be careful because yes, there are problems, and yes, we've got to fix them. But we also have to be careful about what we do about the cost structure going forward. Next item has to do with an additional piece of work that's become apparent for Carroll Lane, $230,000. And that's funded by the Stormwater Fund, which is basically in healthy financial condition. So even though it's a big number, it does not cause major problems at this time. Last items I'll cover very quickly. As I think everybody knows, we've been impacted by at least 2 very large illegal dumping situations. These expenses typically will disappear into the roads and street budget. They're not that apparent. The proposal here is to set up a separate account within the division that's involved in illegal dumping so that everybody is able to maintain sight of what the impact of illegal dumping is. Last one has to do with the Gloria to Gardens retention pond, which has been discussed previously. Again, this is only phase 1. I've increased a little bit in case it turns out the expenses are greater than what's been talked to so far. So those are the ones I'm going to address. The last one on the list is the what I call miscellaneous all else. about $211,000. So unless there are any questions on any of the items other than the first or the last, I will move on. Very quickly, and I'm not even going to go through them. I'm just going to put them in front of you. As I said, these are the rollover projects. They were approved last year. No decision to be made. This is just administrative to move the funding that was originally encumbered in FY20, move it in FY21 so the bills can be paid. You'll notice that the third and second from the bottom have diamonds beside them. Going through my notes, I realized that these were already picked up in Budget Amendment 1. So when we go to the second hearing, these two are going to disappear. So unless there are any questions on this one, I will move on. This is the last, this is the miscellaneous category. As it said, it's $211,000. It's 9 items. Very quickly, I'll go through them. Motorcycle has to do with a second motorcycle for the police department, and also some fitting out equipment. The second item is we've had some difficulties in getting all of the documentations correct on a timely basis, and have incurred some penalties having to do with the retirement plan. We've incurred about $20,000 this year, which really spread over a couple of years. But at the moment, I'm assuming we're going to hit it. It's all going to hit this year. And I've left a little leeway in case we have future problems for the year. Third one is payroll processing. It turns out that all along the city has been receiving 2 processing charges correctly from our payroll processor each month. We only knew about one because the second one was always buried within the financial transactions of getting the payroll funded. And it's only recently that we've identified no invoices have been received previously. So consequently, now we're aware of it. We've got to fold it in the budget. It was showing up somewhere before. People are not sure exactly where. The next 2 are problems I created. I understated the audit fees for 2 audits this year. First the FY19 and then the FY20. These are adjustments to bring that up to levels that will support 2 audits. Next item has to do with leave payout. As people retire or go elsewhere and have a lot of unearned leave, they do have the right to cash it out. We've incurred about $100,000 or more already. The budget in place at the moment was adequate for $125,000. This $30,000 is going to get it up to $155,000. This is not a managed item. This is people have earned it. It's going to occur. The $30,000, if we don't need it at the end of the year, will just fall back into reserves. Next to last item is second from last item is $20,000 for police training. This has to do with range work. It has to do with getting experience with the National Incident Database System. Also has to do with some training within the detective area and also the administrative area. Last 2 items are minuscule. IT incurs periodic FedEx expenses. There's no budget there. This will take care of that for the year. And the last item is just a movement between 2 line items where general expense was slightly overstated, clothing expense was slightly understated, moves $200 from one account to the second one. That really is the sum and substance of Budget Amendment 2 first hearing. Certainly stand ready to answer any questions anybody may have.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Commissioner Davis?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm directing this question, I guess, to the city manager. He would be the appropriate person to deliver an answer. But it's in relation to the leave payout, cash out of, I guess, sick time, Mr. Manager. As it relates to sick time, I know we had an issue in the past where we were, I guess, a little bit antiquated with our sick leave and our that entire policy. And if I remember correctly, we were moving in a direction which is pretty much, standard for most municipal governments of this size, which includes PTO. So are we currently still operating with the antiquated sick leave structure? Or have we since then transitioned to a system of, paid time off,
So we're,
which would,
Mr.
through the
Manager?
mayor. So we're still in an antiquated system. We have to go into collective bargaining. So we're currently about to go into collective bargaining with both the police department unions and ASME. So that ultimately will kind of hash those things out. So we're looking to transition that. And then as far as leave payout goes, in regards to that dollar amount, I know that you didn't ask that specific question, but I do want to kind of speak on that. These are transitions from the city of longstanding members of the city government. And as the city is aware, the city has had a longstanding issue of allowing people to maintain benefit time. Moving forward, upon my tenure here, we did change that policy. And so we limited the amount of carryover moving forward, but anything in the past, we cannot penalize employees due to the city's negligence of not allowing or forcing employees to take time or adjusting that time appropriately. So we still have to kind of look at that. And that is an audit finding that still is currently being actively addressed by the city.
thank you, yes, and I remember that being one of the 99 findings, so I'm glad that we are at least moving in a direction to clean that policy up and put something better for our employees. So thank you for that, Mr. Manager. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? All right. Mr. Manager, I do see 2 additional staffing positions that we have here in the budget, one in Public Works and one in HR. Recently, during our State of the City report, Buildings and Licensing talked about having someone in there. Is there any anticipation for including someone building and licensing, and why is operations and HR priority? Could you help us understand the priority between operations manager, HR, and any other positions that are available at the moment, well, are needed in the city?
Okay. First, thank you for your question, Mr. Mayor. As far as human resources is concerned, as everyone is aware, there's been a longstanding issue in regards to record keeping and issues within the Human Resources Department in regards to resources that are needed. This is a closely monitored matter by the state of Florida and Auditor General's office. And based on consultation with the state, as well as our HR department, and looking at the capabilities of our antiquated HR practices that we're looking to kind of modify and upgrade, we saw the need to add that position. And as far as the operational manager position, as you all are aware, the city has been attempting to recruit a assistant director of public works for quite some time. We've been having issues in regards to salary range related matters in regards to being competitive. Mr. Austin needs assistance in regards to his duties and relates to public works and CIP. And so the operations manager is going to come in or supervise both the public works superintendent and both superintendents in the public works department and be an assistance to Mr. Austin. So a lower grade position. So instead of assistant director or operations manager at a lower salary. So those are the justifications for those 2 positions. As far as building and licensing, the city manager's office is looking at the capabilities of the city, the building and licensing office. Part of it is technology based, and we're working with our IT department to upgrade their systems in regards to licensing and the antiquated systems that they use in regards to issuing building licensing as well as the permitting process. So efficiency is one part of the issue. And another part of the issue is kind of evaluating the entire building licensing department in holistically and looking at potential changes there. So I do see in a pending budget amendment, maybe adding additional administrative personnel to that office. but we're still evaluating that. The appropriate requisition has been entered, and we are evaluating that currently. And you may see that in the second reading of budget amendment number 2, that addition to that position. So that may be at the next commission meeting. So that's a potential for that position to be added. But understand we're whittling down the dollars in regards to the 5-year plan, as Mr. Anthony stated. So we do have to look at other dollar amounts to kind of offset those positions and look at other cost savings elsewhere in other matters related to city day-to-day operational business. I hope I answered your questions, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. To my colleagues, one of the things that has been on my mind is the need for a lobbyist or someone in Tallahassee to advocate for us as a city. As you know, last year, there was a big uproar in the state where there were bills that wanted to dissolve municipalities, and Opa-locka was used as one of the top cities for that. And we haven't had success in securing dollars up in Tallahassee. A lobbyist has been removed from our budget since we've been in financial oversight. And I think it's something that we need to look into. It may not be right now. I think we need to do a strategic planning session to talk more about it, to find out what will be our goals and our aims. But it is something that I think that we should think about and consider, especially moving into this upcoming 2020 session. And that will have to go through the budget process, RFP, and all those things. But I've been speaking to quite a few people to try and figure out what is the best position we should take coming up this year. So moving forward, once we have this operational audit meeting, we're going to also call for that audit workshop, and then we do a strategic planning so we can talk about that in more detail. But I just wanted to put that in my colleagues' mind at the moment. Any other comments or questions on this budget? Vice Mayor Williams.
Mr. Mayor. Wanted to just respond to your comments about a lobbyist. I respectfully disagree with us looking for a lobbyist at this time due to the fact that I believe we're on the right path, and I don't think that we can afford a lobbyist. And I believe if we also continue to find lobbyists that are willing to work pro bono, then I think that's the path we should follow. Thank you.
And that's the point that I'm leaning towards, is that we try to be clear upon our goals as a commission, really think that through, and then propose that to people who may be able to assist us. But I think we need to be clear on what our goal as a commission, so that we can make the proper suggestions. So we'll move forward there. Go ahead, Commissioner Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to bring two things to light. So I know in the past when we talked about just kind of outlining our legislative agenda and kind of what do we want to, what's our wish list for Tallahassee? We talked about voting on it in the past. So I would also like to throw that out, so that it is clear that whatever position the city takes, this administration takes, that it is, voted upon and it is communicated to Tallahassee. That's number one. The second thing is, if you recall, Mr. Mayor, when we took a trip to Tallahassee to go advocate on behalf of the city to the Joint Legislative Auditing Committee, one of the issues we had was, we had no one at Tallahassee ultimately advocating for the city. No one was, speaking up on our behalf. So, lo and behold, we, walked into a situation where we wasn't necessarily communicating our best work, if you will. Since that meeting, the state, of course, I don't know where they are and where they stand now as far as the lobbyists, but at the time, the state wasn't in support of, I guess, approving a lobbyist on behalf of the city, given our financial position. Since that moment, the state, however, did approve us as a commission to identify a member to serve as a lobbyist, which is more cost effective. And I know we kind of had some discussion on it in the past with previous commission members, but that was, that was never really explored. I was actually one of the commission members that volunteered for it, but we never moved on it, if you will. So I just want to bring, kind of bring those two past visions back to the forefront, since we do have a new commission, just to give them a little background, as far as the state's position and I guess, our ability to have someone advocating for us in Tallahassee.
Mr. Mayor,
Thank you. Commissioner Burke.
Mr. Mayor, I concur wholeheartedly with Vice Mayor Williams. I've been in the city for a long time, and in the past, we have spent a lot of money on lobbyists in Tallahassee. And I can't, as of yet, remember, I remember the one firm that we had for the longest, I'm not gonna call her name, but she's well-known, and we had her company, or the company that she worked for, and we've never seen a return. And just like we sat here and we talked about it before, I think the best lobbyists that we can have is ourselves. I mean, nobody's gonna fight for us as hard as we're gonna fight for one another, as hard as we're gonna fight for our city. So when they're in session, just like we said before, you and the vice mayor, you or whoever you decide to, want to go up and fight for it. But right now, looking for a lobbyist and finding money to give a lobbyist, I think, to me, I think, like Vice Mayor Williams said, we're sort of on a good course now. And right now, that's an expense that we can't take on. But like I say, $10,000, you, the vice mayor, go up there and y'all can fight for us. We don't have to, But anyhow, thank you.
Commissioner Charlie.
Commissioner Burke and took the words right out of my mouth. I would rather us take care of what we have so far. They say we do need 2 more bodies in these departments, plus Mr. Bia asked for help. So to actually skip over that to get a lobbyist, to me, it's just like telling our employees that, hey, we don't really care. And I would like to explore what Commissioner Davis said and Commissioner Burke agreed to actually explore one of the commission actually lobbying, as opposed to spending that extra money and getting somebody paid to do it. So I'm in agreement with my colleagues.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So we will have that conversation in detail, so we clear about what our goals and objectives are. And if that means the appointing someone on this commission, we got to debate the allocation of the funds for that travel expense too, and also coordinate those times and make that happen. But we need to decide that as a body on what exactly our goals and our objectives are, so that because the difference is that we as a commission have to be clear with our representative, because we can't speak individually. So we want to make sure that whoever we do appoint is someone that understands our goals and objectives very, very clearly, and how can fight for it, have the time to navigate those halls in Tallahassee and fight for us. So thank you for your consideration. Any other questions or comments on this budget amendment? Right. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Mayor Pygott,
Yes.
Motion passes first reading.
All right, 16B1.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, amending and replacing in entirety Article 4 of the City of Opa-locka's Code of Ordinances entitled Stormwater Utility, specifically amending sections 21-190 through 21-196, creating new sections 21-197 through 20-203, providing for intent, construction, definitions, utility establishment, customer base, utility categories, fee schedule and payment, exemptions, stormwater utility enterprise funds, requests for adjustment, prohibitions, permits, plan reviews, inspections, and administrative fees, providing for codification and scrivener's errors, conflicts of law, severability, and providing for an effective date. First reading was December 9th, 2020. This is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, it's a public hearing item. Public hearing is open. Madam Clerk, do we have any comments online for any other items?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All right, public hearing is closed. Do I have a motion? Moved by Commissioner Burke, second by Commissioner Taylor. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Anathan, as this is second reading, please briefly brief this item to the commission and ask if there are any additional questions of the commission. You're muted, Mr. Anathan.
Sorry, my bad. Just a reminder, this is a byproduct of the commission's intent to move the stormwater charges onto the property tax bill. This ordinance was necessary to make that an authorized way to collect fees for stormwater charges. In the process of doing that, the city attorney did some research and built up a much more robust stormwater ordinance they had before. As was just mentioned in the title, covers a lot of things that weren't covered before, allows the city to be much more effective in overseeing the maintenance and updating of its stormwater system. And again, a reminder, the intent is to move the stormwater charges onto the property tax bill, which for the first time will allow each and every property to pay its fair share in the maintenance and the upgrade of the storm drainage system. So again, just a reminder, we've covered all this before, but I certainly stand ready to answer any questions that may come up.
Thank you. Any comments or questions on this item? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Burke? Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Pygott?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right. Next item.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, approving to close, vacate, and abandon the undeveloped street located between the parcel at 1990 Alibaba Avenue, identified by folio 08-2122-003-2210, and the parcel identified by folio 08-2122-003-2200, pursuant to Ordinance 14-02 for the development of a residential use of this parcel in the BO zoning district and within the corridor mixed use overlay district, providing for approval, providing for scrivener's errors, providing for an effective date. First reading was December 9th, 2020. This is sponsored by the city manager.
All right. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll allow Mr. Gay to introduce this item.
Mayor and members of the commission, Gregory Gay, Director of Planning and Community Development. This is item for second reading to vacate the street right-of-way, which is approximately 20th Avenue, which sits between two properties along Alibaba. The purpose of this vacation is to initiate the process in order to trade or to transfer the property as a part of a settlement agreement. We have done all of our research in relationship to the ownership of the site. It is a street right away, and this will, in essence, give us an opportunity to move forward with the transaction for the settlement.
Thank you. Any comments, questions on this item? All right, Madam,
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Davis.
this is a companion item. No. Is this just to vacate the property, the surplus property that's located at 1990 Alibaba Avenue?
Question to.
Well,
Manager.
I guess it's a question through the mayor to the manager.
Mr. Manager.
Through the city attorney. It's a,
This is the sale of this property, right? The second reading of this ordinance.
it's not a sale. It's actually land that's tendered as part of a settlement agreement. So it's not a sale.
Okay, so it's just to vacate the property.
Yes. So the proper transfer can take place.
Okay, thank you. That's all, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk.
I need a motion, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, I didn't move. We didn't move it.
No.
Oh, I apologize. My bad, y'all. Catch me next time. All right. Come on, let me know. I'm slipping.
Make a motion, move.
Move by Vice Mayor Williams.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Burt. All right. No discussion on the item. Further discussion on the item. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Mayor Pygate.
No.
Motion passes 4-1.
All right. Next item, 16B3.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, repealing Chapter 18, Article 2 of the Code of Ordinances in its entirety, creating a new chapter to include definition of terms, providing for the regulation of burglar alarms, penalties and fees for noncompliance, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. First reading was December 9th, 2020. This is sponsored by the city manager.
All right. This is a public hearing item. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Burke.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Davis. Any discussion on this item? Mr. Manager, you have anything on this item?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I do. This item was introduced by the police department in regards to initiating a false alarm program. It was appropriately briefed. If there's any additional concerns of the commission, I'm prepared to brief those and answer those at this time. Again, this is to get the program started. The program will not be initiated at this point. We still have to find a vendor to manage the program, which we already have located a vendor. We're just in the process of doing contract negotiations, and that contract will come back before the commission based on fees and rules and regulations and various other issues that can be discussed, and even a separate workshop if the commission so needed. To kind of discuss the issue, since it's going to be a wide-ranging issue affecting both our commercial businesses and our residents. This is just similar to previous ordinances, just trying to get our ducks in a row and get the appropriate legislation in place to lay the foundation to get the program started.
All right. Any other comments or questions on this item?
Mr. Mayor,
Vice Mayor Williams?
Mr. Manager, I literally cannot hear you.
I'm sorry.
It just sounds muffled. I don't know if it's the volume. It's muffled. If you can speak louder.
I have laryngitis. My
I'm sorry.
apologies.
Okay, never mind. Maybe it's the volume. It's not you.
No, it's me. It's me.
Oh,
It's me.
I was just,
Sorry.
okay.
All right. Any other comments or questions? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Taylor, Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Pygate.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Next item.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, amending Article 1.5 entitled Code of Ethics, conflict of interest, section 2-14, entitled Orientation of Elected Officials, to include training on the roles and responsibilities of appointed officials, parliamentary procedure, a review of the city strategic plan, preparation of accountability plan for the city manager for the upcoming year, and a review of the major challenges facing the city in a workshop setting, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. First reading was December 9th, 2020. This is sponsored by Mayor Paget.
It's a public hearing item. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Davis,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor Williams. We discussed this item in detail. This is basically putting law of practice to ensure that all elected officials are provided information needed to do their duty, and that their ideas are, after hearing from our city and our officials about what's going on in the city, that their ideas are also put into a strategic plan for the year. So that's what this accomplishes, to ensure that we work as a knowledgeable and collective body and as a team. So thank you for passing first reading, and look forward to making this into law. Any other comments or questions on this item?
Yes,
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
Commissioner, Commissioner Burke or
may I?
Mr. Manager?
Mr. Mayor, the last first reading, I was not present at the city commission meeting. I have reviewed this legislation. I do understand where you're looking to do, but as far as intent, I am in opposition of this legislation. You're looking to do an orientation in a workshop setting of new elected officials, where I feel those elected officials should have the opportunity to have their orientation done in private and not in a workshop setting, number one. Number two, as far as a strategic plan, there's already legislation in place within our codified ordinances and our charter that specifically states that the commission is responsible, along with the city manager's office, in developing a strategic plan on a yearly basis, as well as strategic planning workshops can be called. If there's any specific directives of the city manager's office that are required, that can be done through resolution. I don't believe a law change is required to do this. We are speaking of review of major challenges. There's no definition of how those major challenges are defined. So who defines what major challenges those are? At this point, we have 4 major challenges that are actually defined by you, not necessarily the city commission. So I feel that as far as intent, the city manager's office is in opposition of this matter and feels that anything that you're attempting to achieve can be done without the passage of this legislation.
Any other comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Burke?
I don't believe I was here for the first reading as well. But I'm looking at this orientation of elected officials. Don't Florida League of City does that for the newly elected officials? And why will we need to make it law if we sit in the Florida League of City orientations that every newly elected official have to go through for half a day, and then we're going to come back and we're going to make it a law into our city? Okay, thank you.
And to address your concerns, Mr. Commissioner Burke, the League of Cities trainings focus specifically on ethics and ethics laws. They do not detail and give an introduction to newly elected officials or what's going on within the specific government. So this comes out of my experience of quite a few new people that came here, that basically there was no structured orientation to inform the newly elected officials on what's going on in the government, what are the current objectives, goals, and challenges, and how we are addressing that. One of the reasons why it's important for us to do that in the public standing is similar to what we did this past week with the state of the city, because the level of conversation from those of us that are on the dais, the questions that we ask, the comments that we provide can help each other. So it's kind of like starting the new team off with an opportunity for them to understand the specifics of the government, make sure that all the appointed officials are clear about providing that newly elected person with their roles and responsibilities and understanding. And that wasn't the case in the city of Opa-locka at all. Even with this current orientation that we had with state of the city, those were things that we needed to request. And we want to make sure that it is the law, that no matter who steps up to serve in the city of Opa-locka, they are equipped with the latest information. They have their insights of their colleagues, and they also are able to make sure that their ideas are incorporated in the upcoming year's strategic plan. So that's what this achieves. And this is what this does, is makes that a law, that no matter who is sitting in these seats, it's going to happen within the city. So that's why it was proffered, and that's the purpose of this item.
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Williams, Vice Mayor Williams.
I know last commission meeting, we had an extensive conversation, and I was able to highlight some of the orientation that I did receive by the city manager, by the city attorney, and the city clerk. One thing I will say is I truly appreciated the fact that it was private. I do appreciate that. Having taken a better look at this ordinance, the workshop setting, I am in disagreement with that. I will say this past strategic planning, well, it wasn't strategic planning, but the meeting that we had, the workshop meeting, was very good. I appreciated hearing from all the directors where we were going and where the city is headed. But the workshop setting for orientation, I'm in disagreement with that. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Taylor.
Okay, now, I know I'm backtracking, but I do, as a newly elected official, I do appreciate that it wasn't private as well, because it gives you an opportunity, not in a formal setting, to ask all of the questions that you need one-on-one during the orientation. Workshops, I understand, but because they're so formal, you can't really ask what you really want to ask. And I think when it's private, it's a little more, I think it's better, personally. And like Mr. Manager said, these workshops, can't they also be called by you or by the mayor, as far as what we did for the state of the city? So it doesn't necessarily need to go into law per se, but I prefer, because I know I felt more comfortable being one-on-one with the attorney, one-on-one with the manager, and one-on-one with the clerk, as opposed to having it blasted all over everybody, to everyone to see. Thank you.
So I clearly hear the will of the commission in modifying this to take out the public workshop. I just based upon prior experience, I hope that all elected officials in America do this, because in the city of Opa-locka, what was requested was not normal. What y'all received was not normal at all, any way, shape, or form. So we more than willing to take it out of being the public workshop for the first part. However, how will we discuss the ideas of the new commission with the colleagues? Well, what are your suggestions to make sure that new people are able to share their thoughts with the rest of their commission and make sure that happens? How else would that happen? And if there, what modifications would my colleagues want to this resolution in order to achieve that goal?
Mr. Mayor, may I?
Hold on, let me hear from the colleagues first. No? All right, go ahead, Mr. Manager.
Again, Mr. Mayor, we have a strategic planning section of our ordinances that fall in line with the election cycle. So by the time we have new elected officials coming on, you had swearing in December 9th. Around December 9th time period. We're in January. We're about to go on strategic planning right now, as the new commission can see. So typically, again, these are things that are mandated. You have strategic planning that's already mandated in the code. You have code of ethics is already mandated by the state of Florida. So, and then as far as how does the new elected officials go about expressing their ideas? Just like we all express ideas as adults sitting here at this dais, just like our two newly elected officials have expressed their ideas since they've been here these last 2 months to myself. I don't know about the other two charter officers, and I don't know about peers, but I think the communication process has been pretty open. So to lock somebody down for ages or years for something that can be changed systematically, I think is overreaching, Mr. Mayor. And I think you asked for togetherness. I think you asked for us to be open and honest, and we look at the state of the city preparation. Look how thorough that was. Look how that was orchestrated. And everybody spoke their ideas. The commission was able to express themselves. So we're going to pass a new law to add, in addition to strategic planning, in addition to the state of the city planning process. Now we're adding an orientation that occurs every 2 years. What other mandates to be replicating processes here? I think we should be trying to bring processes together. If we want to change something, let's look at strategic planning. And let's make sure we hold each other accountable, including the city manager's office, and making sure we do proper strategic planning sessions. I think moving forward, just as well as the state of city planning, as you're required to bring your state of city address plans to the commission, you know? I just don't think another piece of legislation is required to tie the city manager's office down to a mandate, because that's the intent. That's the intent of this legislation.
Mr. Manager, you speak about strategic planning in our charter. Where exactly do you see that at?
I can pull it up. Don't have my laptop in front of me, but I know our code speaks of strategic planning.
Madam Attorney, in preparation of this item, I know that we review our codes and ensure that we don't have duplicate things. Did you come across anything that says that the city must do an annual strategic planning outside of the comprehensive master plan that we do?
Mr. Mayor, that wasn't something I specifically looked at. I just put the word strategic planning in the code, and those words don't come up together. So I don't know that that's in the city of Opa-locka's code, but maybe it's something that's intended by some other name. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to look at that. Again, this is just what I'm doing, just sitting here because you asked. I just put it in.
All right, so Mr. Manager, could you
And I could be
provide
incorrect.
that
I could be
information to
incorrect
us?
as far as saying specifically strategic planning being in the code, but I know last year you spoke of the same intent as far as setting up strategic planning meetings. And maybe it was through a resolution and maybe not an ordinance and maybe it wasn't a part of the code, but I know we spoke of specifically strategic planning because I know if we look up minutes, I know the term has been used on multiple occasions. So maybe I'm misquoted saying that's in the code specifically, but I know it's been brought up in conversation on multiple occasions. All I'm saying is we can do things better than tying down additional legislation. And that's all I'm saying. Communication.
So I do want my colleagues to be clear that this State of the City report was not something that was normal here in the city. That was a request of myself. And what this law is doing is to make sure that those type of things take place in the city. So I have my new elected colleagues, y'all are here to do this. So if you don't want it, I respect the will of the commission. So I wanted to bring that before us so that we could do so. With that, any other comments, questions on this item?
Mr. Mayor.
Vice Mayor Williams?
I think my colleague, Mr. Taylor, and I were, as the newly elected official, our issue is the workshop setting. That's our issue. So we're not saying that no one up here on the dais cannot call a workshop for strategic planning for the workshop that we had the other day. We can always call workshops for those planning meetings. I think that when we're saying, and I think what I'm hearing is it's getting a little convoluted because it's two separate things going on. We're talking about orientation for newly elected officials. Well, that happened. That happened for Mr. Taylor and that happened for me. And I will say that due to your request, that is probably why that happened when you make the statement that it didn't happen for you. So I will say that I do appreciate that happening with the 3 charter members here on the dais. However, if I did not have the closed sessions, I don't think that I would be freely comfortable to ask questions that I was able to ask and get those questions answered. As a newly elected first time on the dais, I know that I would not have been able to get my answers, or no, I'm sorry. I know that I would not have felt comfortable asking certain questions. So, and that's my issue. That's my issue. It's the workshop setting. And I do know the ethics training was given through the Florida League of Cities, as well as the city attorney. So there's just, it's two, I think there's a lot of items going on in this one item.
All right, so.
I was gonna say, Mr. Mayor, if I just may offer one small little token. As I view it, I see that my colleagues seem to have an issue, I guess, with the public forum, and then also, being able to address certain questions of concern in private. Well, I guess we all know, we're all elected officials, and once you become an elected official, there's very few things that you can do, I guess, not in public settings. With that being said, given a workshop setting, I don't think, I've never had a problem with it. Myself and the mayor, when we both were elected, but when the mayor was reelected, we both shared in the orientation in that same way. As an elected official, there's nothing preventing you all from having private meetings with the attorney, with the city manager, with any charter officer, for that matter, because that's your right and actually your responsibility to do so. So I actually don't see the passage of this legislation hindering, I guess, that aspect of being a public official. And again, that's just, my take on it. I supported, the legislation simply because, I felt that, we're not, like you said, I heard, I think Vice Mayor Williams said in our last meeting that, who's gonna lead once we're gone. And part of, I think, what we're doing and part of our legacy is, building something more, building something greater, building sustainability in this government, whether it's, making sure that those that come after us receive the proper orientation or the proper knowledge to move the city. Like I said, I don't really have a problem with it. I hear the managers concerned about, the kind of day-to-day function and, just having to, it being kind of a duplicate of what we kind of already have in place. I actually like the idea. I think, it creates something sustainable. I think it's needed here in the city. I think the first time it was ever, well, in my, experience, the first time I ever seen it done was when we was elected, and it was very helpful. And yeah, that's just my opinion. So I'll offer that, and I'll yield to my colleagues.
And I do want to just make sure that we are clear, because you hit on something right, Vice Mayor Davis, and I do hear you loud and clear, Commissioner Taylor, and also Vice Mayor Williams, about doing this in a public setting. If you look at the recitals, section 2-14 B, it says, upon request, newly elected members of the city shall receive an in-person structured orientation on city government matters from the city administrator and city attorney within 10 business days administrating the oath of office. So that is something that it is your right to have that opportunity to go through that in detail. And that's a part of being an elected body. The public workshop gives us an opportunity as new colleagues to review that information and to hear and share as a collective body. So that's what the difference is. You still will have an opportunity, and this law will in no way impede upon anybody ever within the city of Opa-locka to get in-person private orientation. You can have that orientation and in person, and then bring those questions and thoughts that you think that the rest of the commission may want to hear in that public setting. So that's the intent of it. Anything else before we call for the vote?
Yeah, are we through? Can we call for the vote, please?
All right. Madam Clerk?
Vice Mayor Williams,
No.
Commissioner Burke,
No.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
No.
Mayor Pygott,
Yes.
motion fails.
Moving on to the next item, Resolution C1.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, authorizing the city manager to accept a grant for a new Opa-locka community bus route from the Florida Department of Transportation, awarded to the City of Opa-locka for up to $225,121, which requires a funding match by the City of Opa-locka for the program, further authorizing the city manager to execute the Florida Department of Transportation grant agreement, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, there's a public, the
Mr.
resolution. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Burke,
Second.
second by Commissioner Davis.
Mr. Mayor, I ask for deferral.
Mr. Manager, and please introduce this item.
Sorry. Ask for deferral to the next commission meeting. We have gotten the extension from the Department of Transportation to solicit for additional funding for the match. So I ask for a deferral to the next standing commission meeting.
All right, could you hold on that deferral?
Sure, sir.
All right. For my colleagues, I want to make sure that we are aware that this is basically a grant that pays for half of the bus route. and we need to find funding for the other half. If you noticed initially before we received the extension, staff was recommending that we do not take this grant because it will have an impact on our budget and our 5-year recovery plan and our surplus and also roads and street projects. But I think it is very important that we do our due diligence to advocate to secure the funds that for this bus route. When we had it years back, it was very popular. And now that we have the Amazon Distribution Center, this route connects Miami-Dade North with our Tri-Rail station, our downtown, and also the Amazon Distribution Center. I think it's very important that we try and figure out how to fund this. So I just want to make that statement so that we can be active and engaging and trying to figure out how we can get this funds for our community. All right. Here no further questions. This item is deferred by the city manager. All right. Mr. Manager, your report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I would like to speak on a couple matters. I would like to speak on our recent crime surge that we've had in the city of Opa-locka. As everybody's known, we've had a surge of violent crime within the city. The city manager's office has taken the steps to mandate additional manpower on the streets of the city of Opa-locka to ensure that we have proper law enforcement coverage at both apartment complexes that have been experiencing the violent crime surge, as well as the rest of the city. We've at this point are working. Our police department is working the Alpha Bravo schedule, which means all days off are canceled, as well as any vacation. So we're currently doing that for the next 2 or 3 more days to bring down the level of crime, as well as looking for assistance and obtaining assistance from our county and local partners in regards to dealing with that specific matter. We spoke on Glorietta Garden, specifically as far as the police substation opening up next week. Had a promising conversation with management today in regards to the police substation, as well as the staffing of off-duty law enforcement. We're currently working on scheduling or dealing with specific scheduling matters related to off-duty law enforcement. That has not been finalized, but the substation has been. So that is promising news in regards to the city. We have 3 new law enforcement officers swearing in on Friday. Unfortunately, it's filling vacancies that we have, and we are currently recruiting for more law enforcement. As the resident stated, you know, our law enforcement officers do need better pay, better equipment, better resources. We've worked on the better equipment, we've worked on the better resources. And we're looking at other issues. You know, we're going into contract negotiations and various other matters as far as dealing with the police department. So we are addressing those issues as far as backfilling those positions, in particular related to the police department. Also, we're making progress in regards to the city's engineering plan in regards to our flood management. We had the mayor can speak on the state of the city. A lot of these comprehensive updates to be provided at the state of the city, which will be taking place, I believe, prior to the next scheduled commission meeting. But I wanted to kind of really provide that highlight in regards to really the public safety related issue. I answered a lot of questions of the commission, as well as the mayor related to specific pointed community concerns. But I will take any specific questions of the commission at this time.
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Burke.
Mr. Manager, my concern right now is for public safety in this city. And don't get me wrong, I know where our new street crimes unit is doing an excellent job. And the killings, but we have to be concerned about the killings, but we also have to know that it's not just Opa-locka that all these killings are taking place in, but Opa-locka is our concern. And I don't know, you say we're swearing in 3 new officers, but then we're losing officers. We do need to look at a competitive wage to keep our officers here. Because right now, what we're going through is Opa-locka being used as a training ground. Because any police department in Miami-Dade County or the state of Florida, I tell you, once you worked in Opa-locka, you can work any place. You can work any place. So I don't know what it's going to take, but I know our police officers need help. We need more officers on the street. We need more officers on the street. And they're on Alpha Bravo now. What's going to happen when they burn out? What's going to happen? We need to find some money from someplace and find us some officers, because that's our biggest problem. And we can't be every place at one time. We can't quell the shootings. And I was reading an email where the street crime units took a gun from a 15-year-old in our city. A 15-year-old. Where are our kids getting these guns from? Where are they getting them from? And then they're killing up one another. The best police department in the world can't stop the killings. But if we can get some more officers on the streets, we got the vehicles. I don't think equipment is a problem anymore. I think now manpower is more so the problem. But then we're going to have to find some money from someplace to make our officers more competitive with the cities who see how good our officers are and are trying to take them away from us. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any questions for the manager?
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Davis.
Thank you. Mr. Manager, if you can just kind of elaborate on the Alpha Bravo and why it was implemented. From my understanding, I guess we had problems with, certain officers signing up for shifts that related to the crime unit. Can you speak on that, please, or clear it up for me?
Sure, I can speak on that. So initially, when the crime surge occurred, we put out non-mandatory overtime shifts to be filled by law enforcement officers to voluntarily fill special shifts to surge manpower on the street. We went 2 days in a row where we had law enforcement personnel either did not sign up for overtime or limited personnel sign up for overtime, which based on my powers as city manager, caused me to deem it to be an emergency to cancel all days off, as well as all leave requests in regards to police personnel because of the shootings that occurred. So we actually had a shooting occur this weekend that kind of tipped the charts for me as far as my kind of litmus test as far as what was required for me to kind of evaluate the manpower thought process compared to getting officers to voluntarily sign up for shifts. So that's how that thought process came about.
Thank you, Mr. Manager, and through the mayor, I just have to make this point. I know Commissioner Burke, just alluded to our police department and all the things that they're doing, but I'm gonna tell you this, I have a problem when our officers, when they don't answer the call. And that's not the first time I've heard this from this police department. Because when we instituted a curfew in these same neighborhoods that we aggressively patrolled when it was a curfew, when there's shootings, our officers fail to act. And I have a problem with that. A serious problem with that. And I'm all for paying our officers more and ensuring that, they're compensated fairly. But when you're hired to do a job, you do that job. We all know, what our compensation is to lead this city. And long before I was an elected official, working grassroots, you can look at my salary and what I was getting paid for at the CDC. And it wasn't much, but I did my job. And I'm sorry, Mr. Manager, I have a real problem with that, a real serious problem, and I hope that we're able to fix it, because our residents deserve better. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Burke?
did I just hear the commissioner say
Commissioner.
that our city, our
Throughout
police officers?
To the commission, address it to the commission, please.
I'm just saying, did I just hear someone say our police officers aren't doing their jobs?
Will you fail to, excuse me, Mr. Mayor? Will you fail to sign up, Commissioner? Will you fail to sign up?
Are you for real?
The same?
Are you for real?
Are you for real?
Please,
Are you for real?
Are you for real?
Gentlemen, decorum, please.
These guys are out there on the street every day. You get out there.
Gentlemen.
You get out there. You're not out there. You get out there. I've been out there. I'm there every day.
Gentlemen.
I'm there every day.
Gentlemen,
You
please.
sit there and say our police officers aren't doing their job. Oh, my God.
Commissioner Burke, please, gentlemen. Please. We hear your point. Everyone has a right to their opinion on this dais. Please.
Burke said you get out there and do it. Chris say, I am out there, nigga. I'm out there. You get out there.
That outside of this room.
Okay.
At the moment, please, let's respect the quorum and represent the people. That is the bottom line of our jobs. All right. Any other questions for the manager for his report?
Mr. Manager, I'm sorry.
Vice Mayor Williams.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. I was told today, this afternoon, that there was a press conference in regards to the shootings and the violence that has been going on in the city. I'm concerned because the commission did not know about that press conference, and I would like to know who knew, who got the information, because a lot of residents were either texting or emailing more residents and got back to me and probably others on the commission that it was said the commission did not show up, or anyone from the commission did not show up at this press conference. I'm concerned because I could have showed up at that press conference if I knew about it. So I was just wondering, how is information, if I'm someone that's new, how did that information get funneled, and why did it not get funneled to us? Thank you.
Commissioner, I have an insight into that. The email that was sent to, hold on, let me double check. It was sent last evening to a few folk. Hold on. Because I got it this morning when I looked at it. Give me one moment, let me pull it up. Yes, so it was sent to myself, Commissioner Davis. I forwarded that to our legislative aid, and he forwarded it to the manager's office. And we need to make sure that moving forward, and I've already spoken to our legislative aid to make sure that when those emails come to me, they go to everyone so that that is taken care of. So just note that hopefully that will not happen again, and that all communications that are forwarded to my office are forwarded throughout this city and to the commission.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
I do, and thank you for answering. I do believe that if that information was told to forward it to the commission, that we would have gotten it. We would have received it through the clerk's office. I am concerned that no one was there at the press conference. And I think moving forward, we need to be on site. Someone from this dais, from the commission could be there. If not me, then I'm sure Mr. Commissioner Burt could have been represented us. But I do think in the future, we need to get in front and be made aware of all press conferences that happen in the city. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments for the manager? All right, moving on to future agenda items. Any future agenda items?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner,
Mr. Manager,
Mr. Manager.
you had 2 future agenda items that you requested last commission meeting. Ms. Lawson is working on drafting those appropriate items, and you should be seeing them forthcoming. She did request an extension through my office, so we haven't forgotten about your request. I just wanted to make sure I noted that while we got to that subject.
Anyone has any future agenda items? All right. I do want to ask and request that we do receive the legislative package for Tallahassee. This kind of goes into the conversation about lobbyists and making sure that people have the information. Usually we do this in the first quarter of the year, October, November, December. And we need a legislative package so that we can, as the elected body, to meet with our representatives, our senators, and those in Tallahassee to advocate for ourselves. So I would like to request that we get a legislative package that is approved and passed by this commission so that we can move forward on that item. So I don't know if I need to do a formal resolution to direct the manager to provide that, or do we need to, Mr. Manager, you got it.
Mr. Mayor,
Mm-hmm.
we formally had it approved last year by the commission. We did. The legislative package came before the commission last year, and it was formally approved. Commissioner Davis can attest to it. Yes, sir. Madam Clerk, do you recall?
Okay, Madam Clerk, did we pass and adopt the legislative package?
It was a resolution.
Madam Clerk?
When are you speaking about?
So the legislative.
In 2020, I believe there was legislation, the beginning of the year, and I did forward that information over to Mr. Grice. Someone had requested it, but yes, in I believe it was January 2020, there was a legislative package that was approved by the commission.
For the 2021 legislative
No,
session
2020.
that's coming up
No,
right
that's what I'm
now,
saying. It's
do we
nothing
have
recent.
a package for our representatives?
Mr. Mayor, clarification.
Mr. Manager.
2020, yes. 2021, no. You asked, was there a formal request needed? I was saying, no, you don't need to do a formal request because last year it came before the commission. The manager's office presented a formal legislative package before the commission last year. What I'm saying is, last year's package was supposed to have been forwarded to the commission so you can review it. We discussed it like 2 weeks ago. You brought it up. Not 2021. I'm just speaking of that last year we did have a package that did go forward that was approved by the city commission.
So maybe I wasn't clear in my initial discussion of request. So our representatives are up in Tallahassee right now. And at the moment, they do not have a formal package from the city of Opa-locka to advocate for. Am I incorrect in that?
Correct, for this legislative session that has not opened up yet.
So it is very important that we have a legislative session while they're out there right now doing their job. They have something from us formally. And that's the importance of making sure that we have people in this commission to ensure that we have that package in front of them. So I wanted to request, because that has to be approved by us. We as a commission, through a normal process, the manager's office provides the priorities for the year. We as a commission discuss those priorities and also bring up any ideas that we may want to have to see. And then we formally approve that package. And that is what we advocate for with our representatives. So right now we don't have it. So I'm asking if we can have that at a future, like hopefully next session or first week of February at the very, very latest, first meeting in February, so that our representatives can utilize their time up there to advocate on behalf of the city of Opa-locka. So does that need to be a formal resolution, or can we just make sure we get that done?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We can get
All
it
right.
done.
All right, got it. Thank you. All right. So any other future agenda items?
Mr. Mayor,
Vice Mayor Williams.
thank you. I'm still flushing this out. I would like to explore legislation for a Crime Stoppers type program that will pay residents of Opa-locka at minimum $500, at max $1,000, and it could be more. If filmed or captured in picture or photo, found guilty for dumping in a residential neighborhood. I know in my neighborhood, dumping is an issue. I did say residential. I do know dumping is also an issue in commercial, but I would like for us to explore residential. And I just have two things through the manager's office. I would like to know what are the highly populated residential areas that are dumped on highly. What are those areas? If we can get some research or data.
I actually have it in my.
Hold on, Mr. Manager, let the commissioner speak. Wait till you've been acknowledged. Go ahead, Vice Mayor Williams.
And I would also like to know what commercial areas are highly dumped on for future legislation. But at this time, I would like to know, for the future, what are the residential areas that are highly, that receive high numbers of dumping traffic, so that we can explore a Crime Stoppers type program to pay residents, if filmed on photo or video, dumping, and if they're found guilty. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Manager, you want to speak first, or?
So as far as
Mr.
one
Manager.
area, I know Magnolia North was brought up today. As a part of a meeting that I was in, Magnolia North. I will speak to code enforcement and public works on other areas of the city, as well as commercial areas, to give you those priority zones and make sure you have that appropriate information.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Burt.
Mr. Mayor, to the clerk, Madam Clerk, don't we already have legislation on the book where we pay the I know the employees, the legislation was if they caught somebody illegally dumping, they would get time off. But didn't we have something in place where we would pay residents who have notified the police of illegal dumpings?
I'm not, Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry.
Madam Clerk?
I'm not 100% sure. It may have come up in a conversation previously, but I can definitely research it in the morning to see
Okay.
if there is anything. And if I do find anything, I can send it to everyone.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor,
Vice
just,
Mayor
I
Williams?
wanted to respond. I did my research, Mr. Commissioner Burke, and yes, you are correct. We did have something similar a few years ago, but it ended, and would like to bring that back because it was very successful.
Okay,
So thank you.
okay.
All right. You want a motion to move that forward as an item? Or would you want to give it to staff just to think about it? Okay. When we make a motion, it's a direction to give to make sure the manager moves this forward and moves on that item, and to see that it's clear that we have support for the manager to move on that item.
I make a motion to move the item.
All right. All right. You want to second that?
I second it.
Commissioner Burke, any discussion? All right, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Pygott.
Yes. All right. Any other agenda items? All
Mr.
right.
Mayor,
Um,
I do have an announcement to make.
yes. Go ahead. You can make it now.
Okay. At this time, City Commissioners, this is an announcement of a closed-door executive session of the City of Opa-locka. Notice is hereby given that a private closed-door attorney-client session pursuant to Chapter Section 286.011 Florida statutes will be held in the Commission Chambers, Shabani Village Auditorium, 215 Purvis Avenue, Opa-locka, Florida, on January the 27th, 2020 at 4:30 p.m., or will be moved to an adjoining room within the building where the auditorium is located. The purpose of the meeting is to discuss the following pending litigation matter: B&G Opa Holdings, Inc., et al. Versus City of Opa-locka in the Southern District for the United States Southern District of Florida, case number 1-18 CV 23269-DPG. The following individuals will attend: Mayor Pygott, Vice Mayor Davis, Commissioner Taylor, Commissioner Williams, I'm sorry, Vice Mayor Williams. I'm looking at an old script. Sorry, Mayor Pygott and Commissioner Burke. On the record, court reporting will also be in attendance, along with City Attorneys Bernadette Norris Weeks and Assistant City Attorney Michelle Austin Pammies and also Candace yes, I do have that. The estimated time is approximately 30 minutes. Thank you, that's all.
Thank you, Madam Attorney. Moving on to Mayor Commissioner reports. Any reports?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Burke?
thank you. And first of all, I know it's late, but Happy New Year to everybody. First off, I would like to report that our Christmas toy giveaway was a huge success. It was great with the city and the Boosters Club making it happen for the kids in our city. Vice Mayor Williams, we missed you, but you were thought about because you was asked about several times. So you were there. And first off, I would like to thank Parks and Recreation and all the volunteers that came out and made our Christmas toy giveaway a huge success. And the best thing about it this time was it was drive-through, and we usually did a raffle on the bicycles, but this year what we did, I think we had like 100 bicycles we gave every car a bicycle that came through until they were all gone. The kids really had a good time. And I want to thank the mayor and the commission for their insight and the hard work of putting that together. Also, thanks goes out to the mayor and commission. I had an opportunity to work with the Parks Department and giving out the food cards, the gift cards for food. And man, I couldn't believe the gratitude. I mean, I swear to you, I had one lady actually started crying. I had one lady that actually started crying. And my head goes off on that to Commissioner Davis. That was his baby. And I didn't know we had so many people in Opa-locka. I really didn't know we had so many people in Opa-locka. But they came out, and everybody was taken care of. And I think the first day they didn't have as many, so we had a little confusion. But as it went on, got better organized, and everybody was taken care of. Everybody was taken care of. And I really, really, really want to thank the commission, the mayor and the commission, and Commissioner Davis for his extra input on getting that money here, because the residents really enjoyed it. And hopefully this is a new year. We've had a lot of turmoil in the country, but let's see what we can do for Opa-locka. Let's make a better year for the citizens of Opa-locka and the great city of Opa-locka. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Burke.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. First, I would like to say Happy New Year to everyone on the dais and everyone in the residents. I wholeheartedly agree with sentiments of Commissioner Burke. Throughout the winter holiday Christmas season, that the gift card program warmed my heart to another level. Thank you so much, Commissioner Davis, for spearheading. I stopped through the park a few times, just seeing, just stopping by. And that warmed my heart. And as a giver, givers don't receive, but it felt like I was it was a gift that I was receiving, just to see the residents. And I actually happened to be at Winn-Dixie and saw a few of them using the cards. So that made me feel good too. So thank you, and I agree. And I'm so glad that they received the Booster Club received the toys. I just see the pictures. I had a family emergency that day, but I'm so glad, and I'm glad that they asked about me. I would just like to continue to say thank you, Mr. Manager, and your office, Ms. Taylor, for driving that program, and for just the hard work that your office did. When I was off officially for 2 weeks, I was able to do tours of the city, tours of different offices. Thank you to the clerk office that set those up. Meetings with specific departments. So I thank you from the manager's office for making it happen. And I look forward to many, many, many years of working with you, Mr. Pate. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, anyone else?
Mr.
All right.
Mayor, I do apologize. I just want to.
Madam Attorney?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I just want to get the notice correct in terms of the people who will be appearing, and I want to make sure that I have a clear record for it. Would it be appropriate to, if you won't mind, if you would not mind, for me to repeat the folks who will,
Restate? Yes, please.
Yes, please. The people who will be in attendance at the closed door attorney-client session for the case that was previously mentioned will be the following individuals. And they include Mayor Pygott, Vice Mayor Williams, Commissioner Taylor, Commissioner Davis, Commissioner Burke, City Manager John Pate, City Attorney Bernadette Norris Weeks, Assistant City Attorneys Michelle Austin Pammies and Candace Cobb. Also outside counsel for the city, in this case, Christopher Stearns and Damian Albert. And on the record court reporting, the time is anticipated to be approximately 30 minutes. Thank you for that opportunity, Mr. Mayor. And this will be again on January the 27th at 4:30 p.m.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Burke.
if we can, please. I see Mr. Mingus has been sitting out in the audience, and it's getting pretty late, and we have an application for her. I think she's waiting.
Yes, that's the actual next agenda item.
So, yes, I was wondering if we could go ahead and do that so she can go home and go to bed.
That's the next agenda item, Commissioner Burke. We got you. All right.
Okay.
All right. Good stuff. All right. Moving on to board appointments.
Okay.
I motion to.
Do you have them?
I like the appointments, Sergeant Dominguez to the a planning council.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Taylor. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Mayor Pygott.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Burke,